Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhyaya and you are watching India Today Global. It's been over 11 days of this West Asia crisis where Israel and United States have launched military strikes on Iran, and Iran is also hitting back at the entire region. But the battle theater, this conflict theater, is ever expanding, and recently this conflict has also come at India's doorstep, in India's neighborhood, and specifically in the Indian Ocean region. India's neighboring country, Sri Lanka, also got dragged into this conflict because US submarine struck down or torpedoed IRIS Dana, an Iranian ship, which actually resulted to death of over 100 Iranian sailors. To discuss this issue, that how Sri Lanka has decided to respond to this entire crisis as a humanitarian issue, and what Sri Lanka would be doing in this case, I am being joined by Mr. Sajith Premadasa, the leader of opposition in Sri Lanka. So welcome to India Today Global.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question to you. The IRIS Dana reportedly requested emergency docking 11 hours before it was struck. Did the government deliberately stall this permission due to foreign pressure and effectively allowing a targeted military strike to happen in your neighborhood or like at your doorstep?
Even at this very moment, we as the opposition are not privy to the exact details regarding the location of the naval vessel, nor the submarines that were involved. In fact, we have not been notified either through Parliament or outside regarding the specific details, the minutiae details of this incident. So we are going by the very, very general explanations provided. We know that this vessel was beyond our territorial waters, that is beyond 12 nautical miles. Approximately, there were 19 nautical miles away from the Sri Lankan territory, and hence this occurrence, the torpedoing of the naval craft had taken place in the exclusive economic zone. Other than that, we are not privy to authentic specific details as to the communications that took place between this particular vessel and
so have you sought all
Sri
these
Lankan
details from the government of Sri Lanka, sir?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Did you seek or have you sought all these details from the government of Sri Lanka?
Well, in the Parliament sittings, we questioned and we requested for detailed information so that the legislators in Parliament and the people as a whole are able to come to a precise conclusion of this particular military incident. But we have not been given specific details so far.
But as per your information, how did a foreign submarine penetrate the Sri Lankan exclusive economic zone and launch a targeted torpedo strike entirely undetected? Did Sri Lanka or Sri Lankan Navy have any information about the presence of a foreign submarine in your exclusive economic zone, or they were also caught completely unaware till the time this incident happened?
We did question the government along the lines of your presentation of facts and arguments, but we have not received a precise reply. As you know, there are multiplicity of legal regimes that govern when such incidents occur. The United Nations Law of the Sea provide specific prescriptions according to the conventions and legal prescriptions provided by the convention. Sri Lanka's position of neutrality also ignites the prescriptions and the provisions of the Hague Convention. Moving on from that, we have legal regimes that prescribe what is permissible and what is not permitted under codes of conduct in a warlike situation, laws of war. Then we also have the Geneva Convention, Convention on Torture, conventions regarding refugees. So there's a whole gamut of legal regimes that codify as to how nation states should conduct itself in times of war. We know roughly that this occurrence took place in the exclusive economic zone. And there are also differing opinions and interpretations with regard to the what is stated in UNCLOS and what is stated in customary international law. So there are disputes with regard to whether conflict could take place in the EEZ of a country or not. But what has happened is a very unfortunate incident. And you, right at the outset, called it a West Asian crisis. I would like to classify this as a global crisis, a global crisis that necessitates the whole global community to establish structures of peace in order to ensure that peace and security is preserved. And that is...
I called it a West Asia conflict, but the crisis is indeed global. But let me come to another aspect of this entire issue, because yet another ship which sought Sri Lankan permission to dock IRIS Bushar. Why do you think that yet hosting or allowing another Iranian ship to dock on the Sri Lankan port can put civilians at risk, and how people of Sri Lanka are perceiving this entire issue in Sri Lanka and the stance taken by the government of Sri Lanka?
As I mentioned to you before, Sri Lanka's stance is neutrality, not taking sides. So we are guided by the Hague Convention. And we have to ensure that principles of neutrality is adhered to. In addition to that, it's very important that even in a situation of conflict, we have to follow policies that protect human beings, that protect lives. We should have the principles and precepts of humanitarianism in our policies. And Sri Lanka possesses those attributes, those main elements. So I think it's very important as a neutral country that has not taken sides to ensure that we act according to internationally accepted norms, conventions, customs, and we adhere to the highest principles of morality and ethical conduct. And that's what we are doing right now as a country.
A very last question, sir. Do you think that there is a pressure from United States on the government of Sri Lanka? There were reports, news reports suggesting that the US ambassador in Sri Lanka also rang up to people in the government. And in fact, US was not happy with Sri Lanka hosting the Iranian sailors and the Iranian ship or allowing them to dock at the Sri Lankan ports. Do you have any report suggesting in this direction?
Well, there were such reports initially. However, I'm made to understand that the United States administration has given the freedom to the Sri Lankan government to decide on the best course of action to take. But I would like to once again reiterate the fact that this conflict is much larger than the incident that took place in the Indian Ocean. Do remember that the Indian Ocean is a zone of peace and a nuclear-free zone, and we need to protect that. Right now, we have a huge vacuum in the global order, and we need to have an international realignment, a global reset. We must preach peace, and we should also practice peace. So I think it's very important that we initiate regional initiatives covering specific geographical areas that promote peace, culminating in a universal peace initiative. And as such, we in the opposition are hoping to propose a program named PEACEOP, that is peace, stability, order, and prosperity. So the PEACEOP initiative is an initiative that tries and attempts to negate global geopolitical great power competition and prioritize issues such as eradication of poverty, destitution, promoting growth and prosperity. As you know, with the oil price hikes, hyperinflation is becoming a major issue, climate change. So I think it's very important that we promote peaceful coexistence, compromise, consensus, and cooperation. To put it succinctly, we have to convert swords into plowshares.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Premadasa. And you rightly pointed it out that at a time when countries are increasingly resorting to military operation, peace should be given opportunity to contain and to resolve the issues, and dialogue and diplomacy is the only way forward to put an end to these global conflicts. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's very important that we walk the talk.
Absolutely, sir.